What do you think? Are you excited for the OnePlus 7T? It's got the 855 Plus, the similar camera setup to the OnePlus 7 Pro, a taller design. Hey guys, Anton the Tech Chap, and this is going to be a pretty special unboxing video, not least because look at the size of this. Inside we've got the OnePlus 7T, which I'm actually really excited about for a whole bunch of reasons. But yeah, this is quite possibly the biggest and heaviest box that I've ever unboxed. Now, unfortunately, as cool as this is, it's not the retail box. You'll buy the normal phone box, which we'll see in a second. This is kind of like the reviewer's guide, where they clearly have gone a little bit over the top, talking about the camera, Oxygen OS 10, Android 10. So yeah, they've got a little reviewer's guide pack. This is the OnePlus 7T. It's the culmination of all our design and engineering efforts and crafted for those who, like us, always strive for the very best. Let's have a look in here. That's actually a very tall box for the phone, but let's pull that to one side. Underneath, OnePlus Bullets Wireless 2. I actually really like these earphones. They charge really quickly. It's all USB-C, aptX HD, and these are actually some of my favorite earphones. I've already got a pair and I use them all the time. So the phone's in here. We've got the earphones here. So I'm not even sure what's going to be in this little compartment. If I got a little notebook. And then finally, 3 different cases. I actually really like the carbon fiber, so I'll probably end up using that one, so that's pretty handy. It's the little things too. You don't actually have to go and get a pair of scissors or a knife. You can just pull this up and then that opens up the plastic, which you can then rip off. It's just the little things, you know, it makes life easier. So everything else has been kind of like the reviewer's guide box. This will be closer to what you actually get when you buy, if you buy a OnePlus 7T. Got some stickers, quick start guide, usual gubbins, phone. Okay, now you can see why it's so tall. We've got this extra room here. Got the phone itself with, as you can see, that very cool looking round camera setup. We'll come back to that in just a second. Let's see what else we get in the box. Clear plastic case, which is pretty useful considering that, you know, these fancy cases aren't in the normal retail box, but this is, so at least we get something. SIM ejector tool, very exciting. OnePlus USB-C cable, which plugs into the back of this charger. This is the UK version, and it's their super fast 30-watt warp charger, although I think it's a little bit faster actually now on the 7T, which I will talk about in just a second. And then of course the best bit of any unboxing is taking that plastic wrapper off. And there we have it, the OnePlus 7T. So this is the new Glacier Blue color. It's a little bit lighter than the Blue 7 Pro from about 6 months ago. Of course, we've got this new round camera setup here with the 3 lenses, which is quite similar to the new Huawei Mate 30 Pro, again with a round setup like this. I do like it, I think it looks good, but as you can see, it does protrude a fair bit from the back of the phone. So we'll have to see if this scratches up at all or if it becomes an issue. The 7T really is a big step up from the 7. I mean, just from a design point of view, I love that we now get a matte finish on the glass, like the 7 Pro has, along with that fancy new round camera module. You'll also notice that it's a bit taller and narrower than before because it's now using a 20:9 aspect ratio, which I actually really like, and it makes it much more comfortable to hold. The screen's also now a touch bigger, 6.55 versus 6.41 inches, and that's been achieved through having that taller screen and also a slightly smaller notch. Well, 31.6% smaller to be exact. It's also 0.2mm thinner, so it's just an all-round better looking and better feeling phone. There's still no headphone jack unfortunately, but we do get dual Dolby Atmos tuned speakers. Unlike the Pro models, it is still a flat screen rather than curved, which I know a lot of you guys actually do prefer. It is now using a new fluid AMOLED display versus optic AMOLED before. I'm not really sure what that means to be honest, but the big news is that it's now 90 Hz, just like the 7 Pro. It's also 27% brighter than before, peaking at 1000 nits. It supports HDR10+, and it produces 40% less harmful blue light. But yeah, what you'll really notice is that smoother 90 Hz, and considering even the Note 10 Plus and Mate 30 Pro and iPhone 11 Pro don't have this, for me at least, it's a pretty big selling point for the 7T. It is Full HD rather than Quad HD, but at this size, I think that makes sense, especially if you want to maximize battery life. Speaking of which, it's now a tiny bit bigger, 3800 mAh versus 3700 mAh, but the real upgrade is the charging. It now supports Warp Charge 30T, so that's 30 watts up from 20 before, and that T on the end means it also charges even quicker in the early stages. 0 to 50% in just 20 minutes, 0 to 70 in 30, and a full charge in 1 hour. There's still no wireless charging though, unfortunately. OnePlus has also made it easier to choose which one to buy because, well, now there's just one SKU this time to keep things simple, which has the new Snapdragon 855 Plus processor, which offers about 15% faster graphics than the 855, along with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. But what makes a bigger difference than the spec boost is the updated software. The 7T ships running Android 10 with Oxygen OS 10 on top, and paired with that 90Hz screen, it really does feel like a big upgrade from the 7. One of my favorite new additions is the customization menu, which lets you, well, customize everything. Wallpapers, clocks, fingerprint animations, icon shapes, colors, dark mode, everything really, and all in one place. They've also tweaked the gesture navigation, so now it's a swipe in from the left or the right, rather than up from the corner like before. And finally, the camera. It shares a similar triple camera setup as the OnePlus 7 Pro, using Sony's IMX586 sensor. And with a 48MP f1.6 main lens, a new 16MP ultra-wide, and a new 12MP 2x lossless zoom lens, well, it's a huge upgrade over the 7, which only had 2 lenses, and one of which was just used for depth information. They've also added a new macro mode, so you can focus just 2.5cm away from your subject, and they've also improved portrait and night modes, both of which now also work with the ultra-wide lens, which is great to see. Video can be recorded in up to 4K 60, and there's a new super stable mode if you want really smooth footage, although that is limited to 1080p. The only thing left on my wish list really would be the ability to shoot video with that ultra-wide lens, which you can't seem to do. That's a little disappointing. It really did feel like the OnePlus 7 was overshadowed by the 7 Pro. In fact, it didn't even come out in the US, but now it's the 7T's turn to shine. It's a massive upgrade across the board. I would expect it to cost around £550 or $600, which would make it incredible value for money and potentially in the running for Phone of the Year. Although I will put final pricing and links in the description below. But let's not get carried away, this is just an unboxing. But make sure you do hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for my full review coming soon, along with videos of the expected new 7T Pro. But what do you think of the 7? Would you consider buying one? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chap.